Hey, it's Jazz at Red Panda Reads, and today I have 6 books that I want to show you that I have never read, and I've had them on my bookshelf from between 6 months and 6 years, and somehow they've survived me moving house and having to get rid of loads of my books. So there must be a part of me somewhere that wanted to keep them and wanted to read them. The majority of them are gifts, so maybe it was sentimental reasons, but looking at them now, I do really hope that over the next few months, I do at least give them a try because some of them look fantastic and I really don't know why I picked them up. So we'll start with the ones that I've been brought by people. So the first of those is A Manual for Cleaning Women by Lucia Berlin. And I think the reason I didn't buy this book was firstly, not buy this book, sorry, read this book, is firstly, it's a short story collection. And when I was younger, that didn't really appeal to me. And I've had this book, I think, since it was released in 2015. So I was quite a bit younger then. I think the other reason is, as I've said before, super fantasy fan, and A Manual for Cleaning Women, that title didn't really fill me with enthusiasm, so I never was really drawn to pick it up. But I've looked up more about what these short stories are about now, and they actually sound fantastic. So Lucia Berlin has basically wrote about her life experiences and created short stories inspired by what she went through. And she was brought up in Alaska. She was born in 1936 and she traveled all around America because of her dad's job. So she was never really in one place for very long. She then went on to have quite a challenging later life, dealing with her alcohol addiction. And what sounds really good is this book. Apparently, some of the stories tackle how she was able to overcome her addiction. And I think it just sounds like a really interesting and heartfelt read. And it also says it can be quite funny at times, as well as dealing with serious issues. So I'm super keen to read that. Let me know if you've read any of her short stories before. I know this collection is the collection that has made her famous, sadly, after her death. So let me know if you have read it, which is your favourite short story, and whether you'd recommend any of her other collections. Okay. So next I've got quite a difficult read, and that's A Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. And this book is written by Viktor Frankl, and it documents his life in Auschwitz during the Holocaust. He was imprisoned there, and he had a background of both neurology neurology and a psychiatrist. And I think what sounds really interesting about this book is not just his own personal experiences of his horrific time in Auschwitz, but it also talks about how he was able to deal with that after he came out of it. And it could not have been easy to it could not have been easy. I'm sure many people would have struggled by mental illness after the Second World War because of what they'd gone through. And Viktor Frankl talks about able to find peace through all the horrors. And it says here that it's a classic tribute to hope from the Holocaust. And I think it sounds very moving. The only thing that stopped me reading it is that it sounds sad, and I've been wanting to read more fun, whimsical books at the moment. But it was given to me by my uncle, who was an English literature teacher, and his suggestions tend to be very good. So I need to give it a try. And it's super short. So again, what are your thoughts? Have you read this? Is it going to make me cry? Let me know. Okay, so the last book I've got was given to me by Rob, my boyfriend, and that is The Colour of Magic by Terry Pratchett. I've never read any Terry Pratchett books, which quite a few of my friends are surprised about because it's set in this fantasy world. It's supposed to be really good fun, lots of fun characters as well, and lots of colour like its name. And I think I would very much enjoy it. So let me know if you've read The Colour of Magic, if this is a good book to start on for Terry Pratchett, or whether you'd recommend one of his other books in his kind of he's written a lot of books. Out of all the books, which book would you suggest I read first? That's what I'm trying to ask. Okay, so the next two books are books I brought myself, and the first of those is Procession of the Dead by D.B. Shan. So D.B. Shan is a pseudonym for Darren Shan, who is a children's author from Ireland. I adored Darren Shan's children's books, the Darren Shan saga. It is an incredible series, quite dark and harrowing at times for a kid's book. But from seeing Darren Shan talk, I understand that he's not afraid to shy away from darker subjects in children's books. And he does it really, really well. The Darren Shan saga is about a young boy named Darren who goes to see the Cirque du Freak, which is a freak show, and he sees a vampire with a spider, and he decides to steal the spider from the vampire, and he gets this spider who's called Madame Octa, which is a great name, and tries to train her. However, in doing so, Madame Octa bites his best friend Steve, and so the vampire whose spider it belonged to, Mr. Crepsley, says to Darren, okay, I'll save your friend, but only if you become my assistant. So that's basically what the books are about. It's about Darren Shan being a vampire assistant. And for those who've read Darren Shan, there is a bit in one of the books where Darren Shan does something with his writing which is so mean. As a reader, it is so upsetting. He basically, I don't want to say anything because he'll spoil it, but he basically puts you into this false sense of reassurance, and then bang, everything you thought is ripped apart. And it was horrible, but fantastic. If you've read it, you should know which bit I'm referring to. And I would, for anyone who's not read the Darren Shan series, adult or child, I would really recommend. I'd really recommend it. So this is his first adult book. It looks like it's about a young man who arrives in a city and wants to become a gangster, and he gets in a little bit too deep. That's my impression from the back. So I'm really keen to give it a try. I think it'll be quite a quick read. I tend to find Darren Shan's style of writing very absorbing, so I don't know where the time goes. So yeah, let me know if you've read this, and if you haven't read the Darren Shan saga, I would really recommend looking into it. So finally, I have The Assassin's Quest, which is a very chunky book. And this is the third book in the Farseer series, I want to say. Let me double check. And yeah, it's the third book in the Farseer trilogy, and it's written by Robin Hobb, who is a female fantasy author, and I can't believe I have not discovered her till this year. Where have I been? And I read The Assassin's the Assassin's Assistant. I read The Assassin's Apprentice a couple of months ago, and I loved it. It follows this young guy called Fitz, who was born out of wedlock to one of the princes in the Farseer family, and he initially gets brought up kind of around the horses and working in the stables, and then he gets almost recruited by the king, his grandfather, to be an assassin. And he also has this fun magical link with animals, and I absolutely adored that first book. However, I'm currently about to finish the second book in the series, so The King's Assassin, and I'm not enjoying it as much. I'll talk about that in my August wrap up more, but I think the thing that I've not been enjoying is the romance plot, and I've got a feeling that's about to dissolve. So maybe when that romance plot dissolves, I'll actually enjoy it a little bit more. But I've got the last in the series. Let me know your thoughts on this. Is it as good as the first? Is it better than the second? Maybe you enjoyed the second as much as the first, but let me know. And also give me recommendations for other Robin Hood books, because if they're as good as The Assassin's Apprentice, I'm going to absolutely devour her work because I loved that book. So those are my 6 books that I'm super keen to read over the next few months. Let me know your thoughts on any of them. Also, please give me feedback regarding these videos. This is completely new to me. And yeah, thank you very much for watching.